Hi, this is Abhimanyu, and I'm with Sohrab and Rulk. As I said, two renowned fitness trainers from across the world, and two people who hate the term celebrity fitness trainer. We have established that, and I'm going to come to you, Sohrab, first of all. You were talking about how RFT will benefit India and why it is required so much. You want to elaborate on that and on why this is needed in India?
The Rulk spoke about it, to be honest. It is about kind of making fitness accessible to as many people as possible. It's about, India is a country, like I said, we're a developing country. We're not a developed country in that sense. So, everyone doesn't have access to a gym. Everyone doesn't have money to go buy equipment. Everyone doesn't have money to use on fancy equipment. So, to me, a form of training which you can do in your house, in your room for that matter, or anywhere else, with no equipment whatsoever and still get a great workout out of. I think that just does the job, and I think it fits perfectly into our ecosystem. It's maybe he made RFT for India. We'll find out.
Tarok, what do you know about the fitness scene in India, apart from what Sohrab has already told you, of course, because you are beginning here. And so what's your understanding of the scene here?
Yeah, I think from what Sohrab has kind of told me, and of course what I've seen, is it's a bit at its infancy. It's in the sense of everyone is kind of starting to get into the flow of actually working out and getting through that. And fitness always has somewhat of an evolutionary track. You see kind of where it was and how it becomes, etc. But as I've told Sohrab many times, that's why I'm so excited about India, because it gives us the opportunity to start from the genesis and really start to input the things that we had talked about a little bit last time in regards to getting people to focus on feeling stronger rather than focusing just on the aesthetics of it, right? Looking at health and wellness, physical and mental, versus just how people view you, right? And if you can, fit into that. And that's the whole thing, and hopefully we'll get into a little bit more detail related to that. But I think in general, it's exciting, right? It's exciting. Everyone's starting to get interested in it, and it's a great opportunity for us to get people excited about moving.
Saurabh, coming to you, when you became acquainted with RFT for the first time, and when you began your journey on it, what was the biggest myth that you saw yourself in yourself that it bust? Apart from your own limitations, of course. You realized that you were
fit. I wasn't as fit as I thought I was. Let's just put it that way. I also kind of realized, and growing up, and he said it right? And growing up in India and the kind of system that we have and what we're used to as far as gyms are concerned, it's all about weight, how much you lift, how much you can lift, what you can do. No one really focuses on the body. I never crawled before I heard of him. Let's be honest. Maybe I crawled when I was a kid, but otherwise I've never crawled after that. So it's only after I heard of him and what he does that I decided to crawl. So a lot of things. And I thought crawling was easy. I looked at the videos and I was like, yeah, big deal. It's just crawling. We manage. If we can run, we can crawl. It just completely bust that myth. So no, a lot of things. I always thought working out was just physical. You switch off the brain, put on your music and just go for it. Suddenly I had to think a lot more than I've ever thought when I was in the middle of a workout. I had to zone into what I was doing. I had to give my body a little more attention. So it wasn't just about working out. It was also kind of making sure I'm switched on mentally, which was a change. And for me, all those were as attractive or as attracting towards RFT as anything else.
Tarok, coming to you, and you were saying that earlier about how there have been celebs and people who have certainly surprised you. And of course, Chris is someone, like you said, he looks like Thor. So he doesn't surprise you with what he does in the gym or working out. He's just a physical specimen, unlike anything that we've seen. But you said it was Brolin who surprised you with his sort of physical intensity and the amount of work that he was willing to put in. On that note, are you aware of Indian celebrity who are sort of considered like the peak of fitness, or are you totally not aware about that?
Sohrab is grooming me for my Bollywood debut, so I don't. I'm getting acclimated to the. I'm working on my dance. I'm working on the dance. I'm ready. Right. I'm ready. Get me in the subway. Get me by the train. I'm ready. I could do it. I know I could do it. No, I'm not that familiar with that community. But definitely, I know Sohrab is always telling me about. I know he's worked with a lot of the very well-known Bollywood celebrities, and which is great. You know, it's always good. Celebrities are great, and they're just people too.
Right.
You know, they just act. So I think people sometimes put them on a different category, and it's just we're all the same. You know, it just gives, I think, more visibility to it. And so people, even like when people ask me before, you know, what's the difference between training like celebrities like, you know, Chris or versus training the, you know, first responders. And I think first responders tend to give my training curriculum credibility, right? Edification. Exactly. But then training with Chris and Josh and all those guys gives it more visibility, right? So it's the general pop that sees it. So I think when you couple those two things together and it's somewhat of a synergy, it's a special mix, because then people are like, I see it everywhere. I see it, it's visible, but at the same time, it's something that works. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. And it's funny because people, when we started to do that, a lot of my team were like, well, that's perfect. That's all we need. So no, we got to keep going. So that's why we work with kids, because some people don't always look at it and go, I can't do what a you know, a military special officer would do. I can't do what Chris Hemsworth does. But if they see, you know, their kids doing it, a mom doing it, it's more relatable, right? Because it's not, you're looking at the crux of the population, right? And I want to help as many people as possible. So if you just focus on the ends, right, or it's not going to work. So
like you said yesterday, you have to make it approachable. You have to make it, you know, sort of attainable to everyone. That's the idea.
Exactly. You know, we have to take, because we all inherently will create obstacles. Either some are obstacles that we would not anticipate, and some are we put ourselves into, right? We say we don't have time. We don't have, I don't have money for the gym. I don't have equipment. There's always something, you know, that, and so with RFT, it's just realizing that if you really deconstruct movements to the, you know, the foundational components of it, it's really just moving. You know, we're going to get our bodies moving. If you don't get your bodies moving and your body adapting to it, the human body is the most, you know, amazing thing ever, right? The things that we could do are miraculous, but we don't really, we get a little docile. We don't really get into that. So I love to see, I know Sohrab will echo my sentiments. I love to see when people's mind and body wake up, right? It's always a beautiful thing, because you start to see that self-confidence improve. And then with that self-confidence, and it's not because what they see in the mirror, it's what they feel when they wake up in the morning. And that's what's so important. So
sort of coming to you, you know, some of the celebs that you have worked with haven't been as superhuman looking as Chris Hemsworth or even Josh Brolin, for that matter. You know, they've been, particularly the female actors, the actresses, you know, they've been fit people, or at least people trying to be functionally fit, which is what RFT is also about. It's not about trying to have six-pack abs and have big muscles. So do you find that working with those people who have more functional goals easier as compared to people who are looking to bulk up and look a certain type?
I mean, I think Tarok touched upon this before as well. It's not about RFT being exclusive. It's inclusive. We can work RFT with every form of training. So just because you want to become bulky doesn't mean you have to avoid doing RFT, right? It's about moving. Yes, I do train but like he said again, they're just human beings. They have the same blood flowing through their veins. They do everything that's similar to a normal person. In fact, when you meet them and you talk to them, you realize they're just normal people. There is nothing else that you need to kind of get fancy about. And they're amazing people. They work really hard, guys. I mean, they're celebrities and they do their stuff and they're very good at it because they work really, really hard at it. They're not just sitting there and things don't just happen. So, I mean, I think they work as hard as everyone else does. I think they're amazing. And I treat them just like I would anyone else. So I think RFT can work, to answer your question, RFT can work with whether you're trying to bulk up, you still have to move. You know, you don't want to bulk up and not be able to move your muscles or your body in the way you want to move it. So it works. And they've all actually done RFT with me. I've been doing RFT for over 2-3 years. So they've all done RFT actually. And they love it. They've actually love it. So they're going to look forward to meeting this man. I'm going to make sure they meet, and I'm going to try and get them to do a dance move with him one-on-one when he comes here.
That would be fun. That would be fun to watch. You know, he's not looking forward to it.
I don't think India's ready. India's not ready. India's not ready.
India's not ready for your swag.
It's not ready. Yet. It's not ready.
Saurabh, I'll have an extension of that question. You said that, they are hardworking people, of course, and I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who did you find was willing to work the hardest and go the extra mile, which you thought, oh, even you were unprepared for? And I need a name. I don't need a generic answer.
I mean, they're all amazing, but then they've all really, really worked hard. But I have a special place for Alia, so I think Alia works really, really hard. I think I have seen her work through 16-hour shoots and then come in and do a session in the night. I think that takes a lot out of an individual. And I think even Rulk knows when you go in for a 16-hour shoot as an actor, it's tough to come in and then train after that, leave alone like do anything else or just go for a walk. So I give her a lot of respect and a lot of kudos, and she loves RFT, by the way. So it's going to be fun to kind of put her through some more stuff.
Would something like an RFT or a training regimen change for you, since you mentioned Alia, so sort of like expecting a child in some time now. So of course your training changes. How does RFT come into that when a person is like, when a woman is expecting, when she's pregnant? Of course, training has to change, or does it not at all?
It does. We tweak stuff. I mean, the beauty about RFT or with any form of training is you can always tweak stuff. And I've always said this, I don't think just because a girl is expecting a child that she needs to change drastically or she needs to stop moving. I think India is the only place where we say, okay, she's pregnant now, don't let her move. That is not true. I know pregnant girls in the US, when I used to go there for camps, deadlifting 70 and 80 kilos, right? There is no need. And they were 7, 8 months pregnant. So I don't think that needs to change. And he might be the best person to answer that question. Does the pregnant lady need to change the way she trains in RFT? He's the man. Ask him.
Darul, same question for you. He's talking about an actress, Alia Bhatt, who's pregnant right now, and she's been doing RFT with him. Does she need to change anything?
Yeah, because any type of prenatal training, and when you're going with training, it's with women too, as their bodies become more, elasticity of their body becomes, like they start to become more flexible with their joints. You just have to be cognizant of that. I think sometimes they're able to be more flexible, but it's just because their bodies are getting ready to birth a child. So for us, for that, and we always have to be aware of their heart rate, right? You don't want to increase their heart rate too high and put themselves in jeopardy. So there's a few things that you can do through it. And of course, every pregnancy is different. I'm sure every woman will tell you, if that's had multiple kids, that one is not, they're never the same. It's always different. So just like that, it's like taking in those variables is important, because that's just like if you're dealing with someone who's not pregnant and has issues with their lower back or issues with their shoulder, or they have something with their feet. It doesn't matter. When you have aspects of it, it's like a chef creating a recipe. I can't have, I'm allergic to this food. I'm allergic to peanuts. I'm allergic to, okay, then we figure out a way to craft something delicious for them to eat. It's the same thing as a trainer. I like
get a substitute there.
Exactly. I like us. Exactly. I liken us less to scientists, more of artists, right? Yep. You want to be an artist. You want to create something that, because it needs to be something that will continue to motivate and inspire them to do that every single day, right? And can keep that consistency. So yeah, I guess that would be the answer in regards to prenatal stuff. It's usually focusing on like their range of motion, number one, and number two would be their heart rate, and making sure you don't get it up too high. But a lot of those women are strong. They still want to be strong and want to be fit, and those things really help the pregnancy to go well for them. So
Darul, coming to you again, I'm going to have a follow-up question to that. Sure. He was mentioning hardest working people. I'm going to ask you, who has been, and this is about celebs again, who has been the most fun to work? Because you told me who surprised you, but it's sometimes you're just having fun, and because the other person is also having fun. So who has that?
I would definitely say Chris. Chris is just hilarious. It's like being around a bunch of kids when you're 13 years old. They're just kids, and so it's always jokes. It's always funny. So there's a lot of ab work without you having to add ab work. It actually adds to it because it's just laughing constantly through the training. Focus tends to be a little bit of a struggle because we just but it's always a good time. And I just think it's good. It's so funny, like workouts, and Sohrab and I will Sohrab will sure you'll tell them too that we work out. There's days that you want to be intense and there's days that you want to be focused, but training is for yourself. It should be a bit of fun, right? There should be an element of play. And that was one of the reasons why RFT, I think, resonates with so many people, is because it's just an element of getting around and playing around. You know, you love to see, if you have a mom and their child, or you see a couple laughing while they're training, struggling together. That's beautiful. That's what it should be. It should be a fun experience, not always just, just
not always very
yeah, right.
intense. Yeah, very serious.
Exactly. But yeah, to answer your question, who's I would say Chris. Chris is, it's straight comedy. It's comedy. It's like the Thor movies in real life all day long. It's hilarious.
Sohrab, coming to you.
But just to add to what he said, actually, when the pandemic hit and we were all stuck at home, the person who enjoyed RFT the most and actually created sequences for me was my 3-year-old son.
Yes.
He was the one who told me, let's crawl forward, let's crawl back, let's do a gorilla. And I was like, dude, I can't do so much. Like, they have a lot more energy than we have.
Yeah.
And he was on fire. And I was just like, dude, calm down. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't keep moving. So you know what? It was the best time I had during the pandemic, doing RFT with him every single day, even for those 5 or 10 minutes. And he's like, I'm going to create the sequence. You're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to tell you what to do. And it was fun. I mean, why would you complain?
I think that's the thing too with kids, is that, because I think with kids is that as a dad, and Sohrab, as a dad, as well, our children are going to watch, are not going to do what we say, but they're going to follow what we do, right? So they follow by example. So I mean, leading and teaching them a movement's fun, and that you can consistently do this at our age, and it's just important. It's important because you just start to build those pathways for them, and those memory patterns where they're just like, this is how we do it. My dad worked out and rolled around with me and crawled around with me when I was 5 years old, and he's still moving around. So it's an aspirational component too. So I think it's just building that culture, and building that community. And there's so much of that that's so important in all that we do. So yeah.
Sort of my final question to you here is, of course, Tarok is planning to come to India soon, and I hope we can meet here as well. What do you have planned for him, apart from that dance that you mentioned with the Bollywood stars that he has to do? What do you have planned for him here?
I don't think the city of Bombay has enough donuts yet. That's something we're going to have to organize. But we're just going to have fun. I want to take him around. He's never been to Bombay. I want him to show. I want him to understand the culture and understand the people. He's definitely going to meet all the campers we have, and they're all looking forward to kind of meeting him. They've asked me about 10 times when he's coming down. I said we'll fix a date and let you know. But yeah, I just want him to understand the culture, what he's kind of dealing with in terms of the people. And lots of food, which he likes, lots of crawling, and meeting some Bollywood actors he can dance with. That's it. That's all we're gonna do.
You should already start brushing up on your dancing skills, Tarok.
I need to. I'm going to I have to work on my range of motion. I'm going to wish I was pregnant. I have to. Why is Rulk always stretching out? He's just stretching because he's ready. He's ready for his dance routine. He's ready for his dance routine.
And my final question to you as well, and we've already spoken about India, we've already spoken about Chris, and I was about to ask you when you were talking about Chris, and I completely forgot. So I'll end up with that. And you say it's a lot of fun working out with Chris, but has there ever been a time when he sort of surprised you? And not surprised by, of course, you sort of expect him to do some things, but even then, such a strong person, such a driven person tends to surprise you by how much he can push. Was there any incident that you remember that he sort of did something that you thought was not possible?
Gosh, I don't know. He has incredibly strong shoulders, incredibly strong. His arms and shoulders are incredibly strong, almost freakishly so. But so he's with crawling, etc. He's a large man, right? So he's very tall, but he's very mobile. He can move around, and he's on the ground moving, and it's surprising. It's surprising because usually when you have guys that are that big and that tall, and his limbs and his hinges are so long that you would find that they have a hard time moving around on the ground. But he's so strong. It's crazy. I'm telling you, when you guys see him moving around in person, you're just like, he's huge. It's like you're like, wow, I'm in the movie. I'm in the actual movie, except and then he has that accent and that voice that so when he starts calling everyone, he just sounds like he sounds like Thor. But
exactly.
I would say, surprisingly wise, his his strength, his upper body strength is crazy, and then his mobility is actually surprisingly good as well. So yeah, he's a weapon. That guy is an absolute weapon in the real life, and you know, even more so in movies. So he should do a Bollywood dance. I should have Chris do the Bollywood dance.
Yeah, that would be something to watch for. And you're already working on mobility and movement, so he can.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah,
They're like,
he's
whoa,
perfect.
I've never seen that choreography is on another level. You know, he's like, hey, mate, that's, you know, hey, that's how I do it.
Sort of wrapping up with you and coming back to RFT after a lot of talk of celebs, is that what do you hope to achieve by getting it more mainstream and getting Darul attached here? Because like you said, that lends a bit of credibility because he is sort of the name when it comes to RFT here. So what do you hope to achieve with RFT in India over the next 2-5 years, whatever?
Get more people to move. I think that's the most important thing. I think people in India or anywhere in the world just need to move. We don't move enough. We spend too much time sitting, and having him and his expertise in the space, I think we'll kind of make people or make India a little fitter. And why not? I think it's time we impacted even not only just the normal folk, even sports athletes. I think athletes can benefit a lot from what he's doing and his way of thinking and the way he likes to train. And I'm looking forward to that. I think we can work with a lot of athletes and improve performance. So overall, I think what I'm trying to kind of achieve is introduce people to something new, something that I personally love and I think works really well. Introduce them to this crazy man over here. He is a lot of fun, and more fun than I will ever be when it comes to training people. So yeah, let them get a slice of him as well.
Perfect. That's the perfect way to end this. Sohrab, Darul, thank you for speaking. Thank you for taking out the time.
Of course.
It was a pleasure. It was a very fun chat.
Thank you.
Certainly better than yesterday, without interruptions. And hoping to see you here once you're here, and maybe let's catch up. And you can teach me.
Oh, I'm super excited. I appreciate the time. It's been great. Plus, you have such a good beard. You have a handsome beard, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is the most attractive Zoom I've been on in a very, very long time. So.
Thank you. I'm gonna go to sleep very happy tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Sohrab. Take care.
Yeah, thank you.